Here.
Jack Perry,
Here.
Paul Chaplinsky,
Here.
Michael Del Santo,
Present.
Valerie DiPaolo,
Here.
William Dietzick,
Here.
Tom Lombardi,
Here.
Victoria Triano.
And I'm here also. Let's stand for the prayer followed by the flag salute, please.
Heavenly Father, may we consider the people of Southington and always render what is right and just for our citizens. Help us to be compassionate and caring for each individual while still seeking what is appropriate for the entire community. Give us wisdom and guidance. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, everyone. I have a motion on the minutes, please, from last meeting.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Open for discussion, any deletions, corrections, or
Yes,
whatever?
Madam Chair?
Yes?
Yes, I have a correction from the Corporation Counsel. He would like to make note that he did not attend the executive session.
Okay, very good, thank you for that. So the amended motion would include that correction? Any others? Hearing none other, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention?
Abstain.
Thank you. Item 3, councilperson's communication.
Madam Chair, I've got a couple of brief
Yeah,
items. Last Thursday, I had the opportunity to attend the Southington Chamber of Commerce Awards Dinner, where fellow Councilman Dietzick received an award for the projects that he's doing all over town, downtown Plantsville. So congratulations to him. It's a great event. It's great to know that Southington is open for business, and everyone was very happy. It was a nice event at the AquaTurf. A great event. And then last Monday, we had our first bid procurement meeting. Just a quick update, we just really kind of got into it, scratched the surface on what expectations are going to be going forward. We had the town manager actually do some work for us. He's getting some things put in place.
I delegated that work.
Yes. So, more to follow. He's going to let us know once that information comes back to us when our next meeting is going. I don't know if Councilman Perry had anything to add, but I thought it was a pretty productive meeting.
Yeah, I would agree, and I just want to thank all town staff that was able to attend, as well as corporate counsel for all the documents. They did a phenomenal job looking at what other towns are doing and some comparisons. So I think there's a lot of dialogue that we will have and then report back to the council, because again, it's interesting to see what other towns similar to Southington, what they're doing. And again, it's a different way of looking at things sometimes too. So it's very exciting, great group of people, so super
Great.
excited.
Good to hear.
That's it, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
So I have a couple things too, but I just wanted to mention that June is Pride History Month, and there's a few events going on, so I just wanted to
Yeah,
mention
sure.
a few of the events. SOCA has an exhibit that will be running for the month of June. I haven't been able to be down there yet, but it sounds like it's going to be a really nice exhibit. First Congregational Church is having a Pride service on Sunday, June 25th at 10:15, and all are welcome to come to that. And Southington Pride is having, we're having the festival, the Pride 2023 Festival. It will be on June 25th at Mount Southington.
Mount Southington.
Yep, so 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We have some great vendors. I see Anne Marie here, so Friends of Animal Control are going to be there. One of the big events is a Pup Strut charity dog show, so that's a big one. A lot of family activities, entertainment, and obviously a lot of vendors and local organizations. And I just wanted to let you know, there is an opening ceremony at 11 o'clock. You are all invited, and if you want to be there, just let me know so that, we recognize you. We're inviting quite a few people. Would love to have you there.
And that'll be right at Mount Southington
That'll be at
also?
Mount Southington, yep. Yeah, everything's it's one day at Mount Southington.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Very good.
And the other thing is, I just wanted to mention the Southington High School softball team. They again had such an outstanding season, and they ended up going undefeated into the tournament, won the conference title, and they lost 5-2 Saturday night against Lodwell Fairfield. So, 27-1, trying to repeat for the fourth time state title. And it just, congrats to all the players and the coaches and, Steve Risser and the staff and parents and fans. It's just a tremendous program, but it just makes you realize that every year they have to, like chasing perfection is one of the hardest things you ever have to do, and,
They're incredible, though.
it's just
That's
incredible,
something
but,
amazing.
yeah.
Everybody wants a shot at the title. Everybody
Yeah.
wants a shot at the title, yeah.
And
it's
you
just- yeah.
put yourself there every year to do
Absolutely,
it. But if
yeah.
you're the team that, it's hard,
yeah.
you're the
That's
team
right.
that can't bring it home.
So
and,
great, though.
But anyways,
Yeah.
just a great season, again, for them.
Thanks, Val, that's great.
Thank you.
Paul?
Madam Chair, just a few brief items. I had an wonderful opportunity to attend the torch run last week at the Southington PD.
Did you watch
carry
it or
out.
run on it?
I did not run it. I supported our fellow PD
make sure the
members who
record's
were in there, for the record, yes. It was nice. There was a handful of others
Should have ran.
down at the town hall who supported, including you, Madam Chair, and who else was there? I know Victoria
Town
was there.
manager?
Town manager was
Actually,
there,
we did shut the town hall down for 10 minutes and
and a
everything.
number of town hall members came out. That was
Mark
really,
had a headband on.
it was really nice. The Southington
I
PD
did
ran.
put my hand out as they hit my hand as they went by. As close as I came to running.
The Southington PD ran from Cheshire through the town and then finished on the Berlin line, so it was really nice. Also had the opportunity to attend the Memorial Day Parade. I know a few of us were there, and also attend the American Legion event, which was really nice, to honor our fallen soldiers. And so thank you to the American Legion and all those who participated in the Memorial Day Parade. And then finally, Madam Chair, I wanted to thank you for also attending with me the Empower Her fundraiser at AquaTurf, where the Empower Her organization announced that they were transforming to an Empower organization and serving not just young ladies who have lost their mothers, but also young men looking forward as well. So a local woman named Cara Belvin, maiden name Guzzy, was honored with a proclamation for the work that she has been doing in this nonprofit now 10 years, supporting the children and their families. They not only did she get a town proclamation, but our state representative and senator and representatives also were able to issue a state citation. So we thank Cara for her leadership.
I just want, did anybody on the dais ever heard of that, Empower? It is an
No, I couldn't.
incredible, I hadn't either, and Paul brought the organization to my attention. It was established by Cara Belvin, right?
Belvin.
Belvin, 10 years ago, and it was founded because when kids lose a parent, how important it is to have an intervention. And this organization pairs mentors with they started out Empower Her was for girls, but they announced at the award night, the fundraiser, that now it's just Empower, and they also are doing it for young men, also boys who lose a parent. It is and she's been, I don't know how this was here in Southington under the radar. She's been on the Today Show and CNN and all over the place. It's incredible. Maybe we can get someone perhaps at the end of the summer to come in. We had talked about that because that would be wonderful. It's a great program. So, yeah, I hadn't heard about it either until Paul brought it to my attention. So, great stuff.
Cool.
Yep. Anybody else? Yeah, Chris.
A couple things. First of all, I assume we all got the letter from Hunter's Ambulance from the executive board. So I'm wondering if maybe through the manager, rather than us all responding to this, you know,
I didn't
Tom, you
get
don't know what I'm
that.
talking about?
Was that the one in our packet?
It was in our
From
packet,
today?
yeah.
For this meeting?
I would
Okay.
assume we all
And
got
also
it.
it was also emailed to you also. That's the hard copy.
Okay.
So-
Well, emailed directly from them, or?
No, I
Yes, okay.
emailed to me, I forwarded to you, and then
Right.
individual ones came.
Gotcha.
So, I know we're working with
HHC.
Gary and Harvard Healthcare, but, if we can maybe put responses through the manager, I just don't want to leave it unanswered
Right.
to them, and it's a serious
Very
issue in
serious.
town.
And I think it's good if it's focused through the manager also, then we're not all getting
Right.
different information.
Is that okay?
Yes, I think
Okay.
is everybody all right with that?
Yeah, I
Fine
think,
with
if I may, Councilman
Sure,
Palmer,
of
I think
course.
we should just put some context for the public. It was a letter sent to the manager and the council, and it's active union negotiations
Well-
within
Yeah,
Hartford Healthcare and Hunter's Ambulance. And it's
Yeah,
an
it's-
active negotiation.
But what's concerning is they're declaring a lack of confidence, they're declaring, no
Right.
confidence in Harvard Healthcare. So that's, and it's titled,
Yeah.
Vote of No Confidence. That's why I
It's
just.
it's not secret, it was on the front page of the record.
Right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't want to leave
Right.
it unanswered from the council, because the council was addressed.
I'd be happy to respond. Actually, you all received a response from HHC.
And I
can
know we're
incorporate some of
working with
that.
Harvard Healthcare, but I just think there should be some official response. I'd
Official
rather it be
response.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Unified.
Just send me your thoughts, and I will put something together.
Okay. This coming Wednesday, I think you were all invited, is graduation at Southington High School. It's amazing to know another year has gone by. Just a special congratulations to all our graduating seniors this year. I'm sure they're going to make our town proud as they move out and on into new adventures, whether it be higher education or, into a career path for themselves. So graduation is Wednesday. And then I've had the pleasure the last 2 weekends, another gem in our community, the Southington Drive-In. So they are open. I had the pleasure of being there the last 2 weekends, volunteering with different civic groups. And I know I've said it a couple times, but we're really lucky in our town to have such active civic groups, because everything they do, I'm looking at Tom, especially with the festival, people raise money, and then it goes right back invested in our community. So it's just another great resource available to residents of our town. So special thanks to Dave, Mike, and Dawn for all their work organizing the drive-in.
Yes, Jack?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Sure.
Madam Chair, it was with great honor that myself, you, and Councilman Palmeri attended the military enlistee recognition ceremony that the Board of Ed hosted. So we have 9 students from the Southington school system that will be enlisting. And it's a great, it's awesome attending that. It's my second time, and it's just, seeing all the families get together and stuff. So just want to give a special thanks to all those students and their family. I know it's, it's new for them, but again, they're going to make Southington proud. Another thing is I also attended the United Way cocktail event. Councilman Morelli was there as well. It was a great turnout. And obviously a great fundraiser. So that was cool, new, and they're trying to get a lot of younger generations, the younger generation involved in showing up to events, because I spoke to some of the members of United Way, and they were very excited to see that, there was a younger crowd, and they're trying to come up with new ideas to be able to get that involvement. And another thing, it just seems like so much has happened in the last 3 weeks since we met. The Southington Historical Society Board of Directors met on Sunday, June 25th. The South End Schoolhouse will be open 1 to 3 p.m. And then, as always, Wednesdays 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., there's tours at the Southington Historical Society. So if nobody's ever been, it's literally a little museum of Southington and lots of, history, and it just, every time I go in there, I've been a member now, I don't know how many years, but every time I go in there, I see something new, and I'm like, was that there? And, I'm always told by Phil, our town historian, yeah, Jack, that's been there. So it's always, no matter where you go in that building, it's always something cool and exciting about Southington. Like, we were moving a coffee grinder to do a new display area, and it was kind of tucked in one area, so we're kind of now showcasing it. So I highly recommend anybody that hasn't been to go through. It's a little gem of Southington. And last but not least, I attended the Memorial Day Parade as well. Special thanks to the American Legion for organizing it and the event afterwards. This year, there seemed like great turnout as well, so it was an honor to be able to attend that, and that's it. Thank you.
Very good. You know, what amazes me, I want to just say this before we move on, and that is that it's incredible what this council volunteers for. I mean, we start going one thing after another after another. It's just so wonderful that everyone is so actively involved in Southington and reaching out to the folks in their different areas of expertise. It's wonderful. So thank you all for your volunteerism. If you hadn't heard it before, I wanted to just say it tonight.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Before you continue, can I just add one thing I forgot?
Sure, of
Sorry.
course.
So Councilwoman DiPaolo reminded me, she mentioned SOCA. It's unbelievable what SOCA is doing, Diane and her staff. My wife is making glass. She's going to classes during the week. There's so much going on. I want everyone to go on the SOCA website and find out, because there's events going on there, and they have art galleries, and they're helping everyone throughout town. So kudos to SOCA. They're really doing a wonderful job. That was
Sunday,
it.
they had their pottery sale.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think my wife is going tomorrow to make glass window or stained glass windows or something, so.
Which is great.
I'd like to mention also, Mike, that I was at the Special Olympics in New Haven this weekend, and I met someone from Waterbury or Watertown who told me that he goes to SOCA every Monday for art class.
Yeah.
Yes, they have that.
So it's a far-reaching as well.
Such a great place. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, sure. Going on, let's move on. Councilperson's communication, the report of special committees, please. Self-insurance, Tom?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The Self-Insurance Committee was quite busy since the council last met. First, we met on May 24th. The first order of business during that meeting was to review the current year status, fiscal year 22-23. And at that time, we had numbers through April, so 10 months out of the fiscal year, and we were under budget by $95,000 on the year. On the month, April alone, we were over budget by $504,000. And then since, I'll interject here, last week, we received an email from the finance director, Jim Bowes, and the numbers through May put us over budget at approximately $52,000. Obviously, that was not discussed at the May 24th meeting, but it was an update that the committee received. The next item on the agenda for May 24th was we had a very detailed discussion regarding how the calculation is prepared to calculate employee premiums. So we got into the discussion of the committee looking at actuarial projections for the fund, and then taking a step back and saying, okay, well, the self-insurance committee has a very healthy reserve. So we therefore determine how much money the town needs to collect in total. So we left that meeting by giving a charge to the finance director and the Board of Ed business director, and we say, here's how we see things as a committee, and report back to us quickly with a solution that we can all agree on. And we scheduled a meeting on May 24th. We scheduled an additional special meeting for June 1st. So then we met again on June 1st. And then what we did is we discussed how are the employee premiums calculated and how are the taxpayers charged. So for example, I'll give you an example. For fiscal year 22-23, the year that we're currently still in, the actuarial projection was actually $25.5 million. So what that number represents is the expected amount of claims that the town is going to pay out was going to be approximately $25.5 million. The Self-Insurance Committee said, our reserve is very healthy. Let's expect to use $1 million. So that brought us down to $24.5 million. Board of Finance took additional action, which was approved at the council level, for an additional $400,000. So total, we went down from our actuarial projection, $1.4 million. Now, bring that to the budgets. Approximately 80% of that amount is paid by the taxpayers. So that's a very easy calculation for the town manager, the finance director, and the Board of Ed. From a taxpayer perspective, it's the $24.1 million times 80%. Now, we just wanted to make sure that the starting point of $24.1 million was the starting point for the employee premium calculation. So that's where we landed at a unanimous vote on June 1st. And those calculations were put into a memo from the finance director and the Board of Ed business director. And I believe they were sent out the day after the June 1st meeting or shortly thereafter, and contacted the employees and the union presidents, so that it's a very simple starting point, so everyone's on the same page going forward. Historically, this has never really been an issue because the self-insurance committee always picked a revenue number that was very, very close to the actuarial projection. So this was never really needed. So that's what it is, and I would just ask through you, Madam Chair, that we submit for the record the two memos, one from the finance director and one from the business director from the Board of Ed. And I will open it up to Councilman Chaplinsky and Councilman Perry, who are also at these meetings, if they wanted to add or subtract any comments. I don't know.
Yeah,
So I'll get those two memos for
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Mr. Chaplinsky.
I would just say that overall, I thought it was very collaborative. Just to clarify, that there was a premium holiday that was extended back to the employees to do some of the makeup in the difference of, what was collected. And then the residents, you mentioned that it's 80% funded by the residents. The residents see that benefit back also, the taxpayers, as part of a lower mill rate as part of the budget process.
Yep.
So we were, the goal was to kind of even the playing field. And I'll say, the nice thing about going forward as well is that staff is going to look into a new policy where we adjust
At the
our
beginning.
figures at the beginning.
At the beginning,
At
yeah.
the beginning of each year, so that, that the employee premiums are even closer to, where we hope actuals will be. But,
Right.
it's going to be a little bit of an iterative process for us to fine tune this, but I think this was a great first step. I thought it was collaborative across the board. It was unanimously approved by
Right.
by the Self-Insurance Committee, and there was a lot of good dialogue that occurred, so.
Jack?
Yes, thank you. I want to thank all the members of the Self-Insurance Committee. Obviously, this has been a discussion that, me and Councilman Lombardi have brought up several times about how we use the reserve. So it's important to explain that, when we use the reserves, some of that reserves is the town money as well as town staff, because it's the 80-20 split. So it was awesome to hear the dialogue on the 24th and then June 1st. We took action. It was unanimous that we passed it. So it was great dialogue on how we're going to move forward. And we've already looked at how we're going to adjust the rates for 23-24, because based on what we approved at that meeting, what ended up happening is we credited back indirectly by not making the town staff on the town side pay their premiums for the last two pay periods in June. Then in the Board of Ed side, they only have one pay period that it came out of that they didn't pay. So it broke down to be about $230,000 roughly that went back to the town staff, which again breaks down to be what we use out of the reserves. And then going forward in the 22-20 or 23-24 budget, we've adjusted the rates to reflect what we're using in reserves as well. So we won't have a higher and then have to worry about giving these premium credits at the end of the year. So it was a great dialogue. It was, town staff did a phenomenal job coming back with all the numbers. It was a lot of work and a lot of rushing to get it done before the end of the fiscal year. But I want to thank everybody for collaborating and getting this done for our town staff.
Madam Chair, just one more thing. In case it's not clear, one thing that wasn't mentioned, the additional thing was the premiums for next year are estimated for the town employees to be roughly 5% lower than this current year, if I'm not mistaken.
That's wonderful.
Am I right, Tom? About 5%?
The number that we would land at would be 27.5 would be the starting point, as compared to the original actuarial projection, right? Right.
Well, I'm very happy that it went well, and we're in the place where we should be and need to continue to be. So thank you, everybody. It was very, very good. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Jack. Thank you so much. Okay, let's move on. Open space.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Really briefly, summer CSA at the LEAF signups are underway, as Councilman Palmieri reported at the last meeting. So please go to the LEAF website and choose your summer CSA. Those are beginning now. Also, a couple items that we're updating on. Jen Clock from our Planning and Zoning Commission is finalized the wording on the historic plaque for the Curtis Farm. That was part of a donation through Mark Lovely to honor the Curtis Farm's contribution to the Underground Railroad and similar activities. So there's some specific wording that Jen and the Historical Society has been working on there, as well as with our Barnes Museum curator. Also, the historic and open space site tour is being pushed to the fall to allow for additional planning time. Jen Clock's leading that as well, and we hope to have that occur sometime in the September timeframe before the Apple Harvest Festival, because we want to make sure that there's no conflict there. Anything else, Chris or Jim? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Public Works.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had our meeting on Wednesday, the 7th of June. From the Police Department, Chief Daly indicated changes have been made recently at the state level to allow the use of cameras for speeding and possibly mailing out tickets. More to follow on that. The chief has not, chief and staff are going to be working on whether or not Southington's going to enact that. Yes, so there'll be more to report on that hopefully at the next meeting. A constituent contacted me about speeding on one of the main roads in town. So the police did a great job going out there, and they made 44 stops. And some folks got some tickets, so everyone should be following the traffic laws and not speeding. And then there was an incident about a week and a half ago at the Southington High School, whereas a policy was enacted where students that did not have a parking pass were not allowed to park in the high school parking lot. So where do they go? The surrounding streets. So it's kind of a headache. So
Anywhere they wanted to.
yeah, the chief spoke with the high school, and they allowed the students to now park in the lot, and they're coming up with a plan for next year so this doesn't happen again, because those neighbors have dealt with this for many years, and it was so good for so long, so they were a little nervous it was going to start happening again. So the chief and the high school are going to work on a policy for next year so this doesn't happen again. Ms. Turnquist reported that all 4 drainage contractors are out there working, catch basins and making repairs to roads. And Tilcon will be beginning on July 5th, paving of the roads for the 2023 season. So look out for that. And anyone can check the town website to find out if their road is being shared, and if not, they can find out exactly when their road is going to be done. Through engineering, Lazy Lane to Aircraft Road, that's on our agenda later tonight, so I'll save that for the town manager. Through the building department, Mr. Pooler is working with the town manager to come up with a way to allow re-inspections to happen through either video or photographs, which would hopefully save some time and some efforts from the staff who's working so hard at the building department. So more to follow on that, and we're enacting a policy as we speak. And then we talked about the abatement that's on our agenda for later tonight, so I'll leave that until the town manager can discuss it. And I think that about covers it. I'm not sure if Mr. Chaplin's got anything to add.
Just the road cameras.
I mentioned that.
Oh, you did mention
Yep,
the cameras?
I did, yeah. The chief hasn't decided whether or
Right.
not we're enacting that at this point. So more to follow. Hopefully I'll have more to report.
People might read about that, but
Yeah.
please know that it's not determined that they will be used in Southington. There's a review that,
It's an opt-in.
it's an
That's
opt-in,
right.
right? So the chief still has to review the legislation, understand the requirements, what benefits it may or may not have, and then he'll make a recommendation following it.
I have a question on that. Maybe it's for the town attorney or the town manager, but, so I know the chief of police is the traffic, head of the traffic in town, but who makes that final decision on the cameras? If we want to opt in or
My
opt out?
understanding is the council's going to make the call.
Okay,
The
But-
chief, yeah, I spoke with the chief. In fact, the chair and I both spoke with the chief about this. We want a very thorough review first.
Gotcha.
He will report to the police commission, get a recommendation from the police commission himself as chief traffic authority to this board.
Right, okay.
Okay, any questions?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
So I couldn't attend the last Public Works meeting. What's the bridge update? I seen in the minutes that, you guys
Right.
had some conversations with the state. So the Route
Right.
10, Route 322 intersection, did we get any real response when they
No
planned?
response other than they've received our information, the letter that we sent to them. Because a month went by and, what's going on? Can you at least acknowledge receipt? So they did. They acknowledged that they received our letter and they're working on it. That's the only information we received.
Okay. Well, obviously, not getting a response back and that being a safety improvement intersection from the state, I think this is a good opportunity, maybe that we reach out to our state rep or state senator and ask them to follow up with DOT so that they could, contact their offices directly that we sent this letter and we need some sort of
Waiting.
response. This is a safety issue, so I don't want to see the state delay
I've
this.
been in contact with Senator Sampson. That was how we got them to acknowledge the first time around, back in maybe March. His office sent a letter to DOT, and they responded to Annette. But we can certainly go that
I
route
think
again.
that's a good idea. I would like to see us.
Can we
moving
get
forward.
that letter to Chris Poulos as well?
All of them.
All of it.
Again, it's just everybody that could reach out, I think, again, it's showing that the state knows it's a safety concern over there, and I don't want to see the project delayed because we want it done right, and I feel that they're just delaying it.
I will say, in 4 years as the chair of the Public Works Committee, anytime there's a prolonged issue, it's got everything to do with the Department of Transportation. Not a knock, I know we went through a pandemic, but they're just so far behind in all of their projects. And it always seems like it just takes so much extra effort just to get acknowledgement from them. If you look at Jim Grapone's report from engineering, every one of his items is waiting on DOT, waiting on DOT, waiting on DOT. So that's where we stand. But I can certainly, I
let's
can
do
talk to
that.
Annette
Yeah.
and get that letter to Mr. Pulis, absolutely.
And all of them,
Sure, yeah, okay.
yeah, from the council, right?
Yep.
And then I have one other question. So the building department's looking at a policy on inspections. Do other towns allow video and photo inspections?
It actually started with a personal experience I have in another town, and I actually got a lot of information on it because I thought it was quite intriguing that it's a much smaller town with a much smaller department, and they don't have as many guys as we have, but I thought it was intriguing. So I did meet with our corporate counsel and our chief building official, and I do believe the two of them have already started on a policy. I think it will work out.
This is re-inspections, this is not.
Yeah,
personal.
re-inspection.
Re-inspections.
But my only concern is, again, in our building department does a good job at, trying their best to get out, and I know that Southington is very busy, right? We have a lot going on. My only concern, again, is if we look at other towns and what they've done, I think that'd be awesome. But again, we could always take a photo not to show everything, right? So that's my biggest concern is, okay, you have to do this, look, I'm gonna take a photo from this side. So I'm sure that if other towns have already done this, they have policies in
Yep, the
certain ways.
policy's gonna be
yeah.
very direct. This is
Perfect.
exactly what I need to see, and if they're not happy with it, and it's gotta be a certain type of
Yes.
picture, it can't be embedded in the
Perfect.
email,
They're
it's
not-
gotta be a
They're not like
JPEG.
safety issues per
Yes.
se. They're issues where they go and have an inspection, say, "Hey, I need you to do these small things, whether it be a gap fill or whatever, send me pictures of those." It helps both, obviously, the resident, and it helps them because they don't have to go back out and re-inspect. They can look at the pictures and do it.
Yeah.
And there's a small amount of faith, Jack, obviously, is that the people out there are gonna be sending us the pictures that are there. But I think we have to build some faith on that part of it.
Yeah.
To be honest, when I was doing closings in some of the other towns, they did allow it for the re-inspection, and it just allows a closing to happen
Yeah.
a lot quicker, because it is very specific. It is just a re-inspection type thing, not the first go-around, and so I think that would be great.
Yeah,
to start doing.
I personally missed a fire caulk once at my personal house that I forgot to do it, and I had to have the inspector come back out to check one hole to make sure. So that's where the photo, I'm not against it. I just want to make sure that if other towns are doing it, we kind of learn, how they've already learned, do what they, from what they learned already. So, that's all.
And I'll add on, Madam Chair, it is something, the town manager mentioned that he reached out to a town, but the chief building officer in town also has reached out already to multiple towns to get their policies. And I will say, for those who aren't following it, this past year, we've already adopted a digitalization effort for record keeping and permitting. So this is kind of the next step in the digitalization effort of the building department. It's, admittedly, I'm sure it's going to be a little bit of bumpy road for the staff once we've started a little bit. But, we'll ask the town staff for feedback and how to make improvements and make it easier. And eventually, it'll be hopefully easier for staff and easier for those who are pulling permits, residents and businesses alike.
Yeah. Like anything, there'll be a learning curve.
Yeah.
But if we look at what other towns have done, it'll help soften that curve, so, perfect.
All right, moving on, Library Building Committee. Jim?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We met last Wednesday, the 7th, and it was a fairly light meeting. The bids were all out. They were due last week. They're in.
Tomorrow.
Yep,
Tomorrow, 10 o'clock.
Tomorrow they'll be opened in public. And the plan is to basically open all the bids, categorize the bids, and consolidate the results, and then allow Whiting Turner, the construction manager, to sort those out and make sure that they're actually bidding on what was requested and that they're even and equal. And then on the 28th, Wednesday the 28th, will be a special meeting where we will get a recommendation from the builder as to what they think they should do with the awards, and also we'll look at the total number and have an idea where we are. I did want to also mention that there is in the library now some demonstration furniture. Basically, it's in there for people to try and sit and use and see if they like it. So we have several different types of chairs. We have some nesting tables that go up and down. And it's not the all-end-all sampling, but it's just the architects started to bring in some proposed things to take a look at. So if you're in the library, take a walk around, take a look. You'll see some things that don't fit because they're new, and check them out.
Can I just ask, what time are the bids?
10 o'clock, council chambers, town hall.
Town hall?
I'll be there.
Mark,
Bells on.
Mark, will you have a tabulation from that at some point, or are you
Well,
going
at some
to
point,
wait?
absolutely. It's going to be, there are many different packages, so I cannot guarantee even by the end of that day we'll have a tabulation, but as soon as we have the tabulation, we'll send it out to the building committee, and I'll send a courtesy copy out to the council.
Perfect, that's all.
So we'll get that notice.
When I get it out to the building committee, I'll CC the council.
Okay.
I'm writing that down so I remember.
Madam Chair,
Thank you.
For the councilman, Jim, if there's tables and chairs and things for people to try, can we maybe put a little QR code on each? And have that QR code linked to an email or something? Because if they're there to try and give feedback, it'd be great for people to snap it right there, send an email and say, hey, I like this or I don't like that. And this way here,
we can talk to
and it can
Matt,
go
see
right
if
to
we can
whoever
coordinate
they
that.
want it to go to, Okay, thanks.
Very good. Anything else? All right, Mr. Dietzick, you're up.
All right, our sewer meeting was a little quicker than the prior meeting. There's a couple notes. So the plant issue with the warranty, apparently we put carriers on notice, and one carrier appears to have acknowledged the claim at least. I know it's being watched by the town corporation council, so we keep on our agenda too. The second is our vendor, Granite Inliner. I don't want to mischaracterize exactly what happened, but they're no longer servicing, right, the area?
Right, Granite, that's where they had the crew, the
Right.
largest crew left Granite.
So we have
Starting to go home.
we have the
Oh.
personnel on the team who's willing to rebid, so we're waiting for that bid to come in.
They've kind of formed their own.
So hopefully they come back, they have experience, they want to work in Southington, they're working in surrounding towns. And then finally, our plant superintendent, Kerry Williams, was not there, as he was receiving an award in Saratoga, so Val and I we wish we were there with him, but, and that's all I have for sewer.
Yeah,
Any questions with the sewer?
I just wanted to add that
Yes,
Kari Williams just, he really does a great job. So congrats
to
to
hear.
him for receiving, I think it's a pretty prestigious award, and, we're lucky to have him.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Very good. Let's move on. Town Manager's Report and Communication.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Here's some good news from the Department of Transportation. We received their authority to move forward on the Rails to Trails project. If you remember, we have Project 1, which was the center of town, Project 2, which was from the center of town Plantsville south to the Cheshire line. We originally had Section 3, which was going to be from the current spot all the way north to the Plainville line. We had to break that into two parts because of some issues we're having with obtaining some rights. So this is what I'm going to call 3A, which runs from Lazy Lane to Aircraft Road. This, as Mr. Del Santo talked about already, this has already been through the Public Works Committee. You'll see the recommendation from our Public Works Director. The recommendation, based upon the bids that were received, would be the Schultz Corporation for the sum of $2,247,324.66, which includes a 10% contingency. And the good news is it's an 80% federal and a 20% state. The town is responsible for administering the construction, which will be a separate thing I'll bring to you. We already have that funded. That being said, I'll be happy to answer any questions on that, but it's good to see that we're actually going north, and hopefully we'll see all the way to the Plainville line in the not-too-distant future. Any questions?
Any questions? Anybody? Yeah.
Mark, I just wanted to ask on the, going through this, I know they had some is it BL companies had some recommendations on some of these items?
Mhm.
Now, would that be part of the contract?
That's going to be part of everything you see in here is what they're proposing to us, and that's what Annette's proposing to us, and that'll be part of the contract that's put together between BL, us, and Schultz.
Okay, so these items that are in here would all, okay, thank you.
I have a quick question. What's the estimated start date of this project once it's awarded fully?
I do not know the estimated start date, but I'm hoping it's certainly this construction season. The plans are already in place. It's been approved by the state of Connecticut. It's just a matter now of mobilization.
And not to go off topic, did we get an update about the Plantsville safety project?
We are all ready to go on that, as you know.
It went over.
It went over.
Yeah.
The CROG recommended that to the state said, yes, that's fine. My understanding is the letter has already been drafted. It has not been signed yet by the Attorney General's office. So we're still waiting for that letter. It's already been on 3 agendas I've taken off because the letter hasn't come in yet. So it's still on your next meeting too. It's on the agenda again. If I get the letter, it'll be in front of you. But it's kind of, well, I'm not.
Are we getting additional funding potentially?
We are going to get the funding that's
Perfect.
necessary. So in this particular case, I would hope that our friends from the Department of Transportation get me that letter.
2 meetings in a row with good news would be great.
Well, they're 1 for 1 with me, so that's good. Any other questions on that?
I hear none.
Okay, the next item, also Mr. Del Santo touched base on. This is the one that actually has started with the Seed Committee, and then it went to the Strike Committee. This is where there's, the town, as you know, has an industrial infrastructure improvement tax abatement plan. What that is the town grants a 100% tax abatement if they put in if someone puts in some sort of infrastructure. In this case, they want to put they being Fergola Company LLC off of West Queen Street, 720 linear feet of industrial road for the sum of $1,281,400. That number has already been vetted through my office, the Public Works Division, and through the Public Works Committee. Am I correct on that one?
That's correct.
So that's already been vetted, so we met every step of the ordinance up to this point. As you know, that the ordinance does give a 100% value, but it must be taken in 5 consecutive grand list schedules. So therefore, if they don't have enough taxes during that period of time, then they lose it. So usually, they plan ahead, and they will be able to take all of that tax abatement within that 5-year period. So they're looking for a vote, obviously, the council tonight. It was unanimous both through a Seed and through Public Works, to the best of my knowledge. Questions on that? That's all I have, Madam Chair. No executive session tonight.
Very good, thank you. Town Attorney's Report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no actual report. As Attorney Shoddy just mentioned, there was executive session originally planned for tonight. It is not going forward. It will be on for the next meeting. I think the council as a whole has been briefed on that already. And of course, more details to follow next meeting.
Very good, thank you. Any questions for our town's attorney? Hearing none, let's move on. Public communication.
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. Regina Coviello, 12 Beecher Street. I just wanted to say a few things. I've had some health issues, so you haven't seen me, but I've been in kind of just a different state of mind, and so I had a few things I'd like to talk about. I'm here today to ask a favor of not only the town council, but all members of boards and commissions that represent our town. In our country, our state, our own town of Southington, things need to be changed. We have to stop hate and hate speech. We have to stop blaming everything on other people. We all have different opinions, and that's okay. What is not okay is bullying or using words that intentionally hurt someone. We see examples of this when it comes to politics, race, religion, and gender. Blaming all of each for something only some are a part of. With that being said, I would like to address Pride. I support Pride for my family and friends. I support Pride to honor the loss of a good friend right here in Southington in the 80s. Excuse me, I get emotional on this. When he told his parents he was gay, they disowned him. He couldn't handle it, and he took his own life. This should never happen. People say keep your personal stuff personal. From the beginning of time, that's the way it was. Then those minding their own business at Stonewall Inn were raided and beaten in June of 1969. So the Pride community fought back like any other person would fight back. Pride Month isn't new. It started in June of 1999 to mark the 30th anniversary of the Stonewall riots. There's been so much fighting and finger-pointing, saying that if you support Pride, that you are part of a radical group trying to indoctrinate our children in school. That is not true. Bringing religion, which is interpreted differently by each religion and person, it's not right. No matter what religion you are, it says don't judge unless you want to be judged. God and only God has that right to judge. For those that say free speech mean you can say whatever you want, this is not true. Hate speech is a crime, and we have laws for that. I support all religions, races, genders, and political views. I ask that all members of the town council, boards, commissions, and residents of this town to stop spreading accusations, untruths, and hate when it comes to all of these issues. All of our town representatives are here to represent all residents, not just the ones with your view. And I was also, to finish, I would like to remind everyone, as Val already said, Southington Pride event. And I hope that everyone shows that you represent all residents and attend this year's event. Thank you for your time, and I'd just like to tell everybody, I keep saying it, even though it doesn't work, be nice. Just be nice.
Anne Marie Conity, 1237 Mount Vernon Road. Tonight I am here representing Friends of Southington Animal Control. We think too often people don't get thanked enough for a job well done. We know they are called out whenever something is going wrong on a job. As you all know, the past several months, Southington Animal Control has been given a brand-new exterior due to the efforts of all the town departments. However, we feel strongly that one department needs an extra special thank you for not only an extraordinary job well done, but also for the hard work of the entire highway department. We are sure you are all aware that many of the highway department employees have extensive background in all types of exterior landscaping, highway work, grading, and everything necessary to get a job done from start to finish. We watched as animal control was transformed from a facility that many people didn't even know was there, a facility that really was not anything the town should have been proud of. Today, because of not only their hard work, but their extensive expertise in all kinds of trades, we now have a facility that the town can be proud of, one which people will notice. In addition, the dollar savings to the town because of the highway department's talents are extensive. If you had to go out and hire subcontractors to do the work they did, we probably would not have been able to finish the project. So once again, thank you, Highway Department, for everything, and for those of you streaming the meeting, if you are out and about, check out Animal Control at 646 Woodruff Street. It is beautiful. And then, on another note, this is me speaking. I'm speaking tonight regarding the baseball league next to Animal Control. We have been working with Dave Lepre, who has been great, as well as the Southington Police Department, because the players and/or parents continue to breach the fence to walk through the Animal Control property. It has been fixed again, but 2 weekends ago, they ripped it up from the bottom to crawl under it. The first time they cut the lock. You know as well as I do that a fence means stay out. Apparently, when you are not taught by your parents or peers respect of personal property, you take it upon yourself to do whatever you want. So tonight, I go on the record to say that should one of them be injured trying to get on animal control property, it should not be on the liability of the town because they have been told to stop. In addition, if they continue to destroy this section of fence, I think their league should be made to pay for the proper repairs. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne
Madam Chair, can I just?
Yes, of course,
Not to
but-
respond to,
No,
but
I
just to
understand, sure.
mention, because it really is important. With all the new work that's been done up there, there is now a gate, and there's plenty of signage which says, unauthorized, only authorized vehicles, and we try to, like when we're volunteering, we try to keep that closed. And we consistently get players or parents or fans, because they come from around the state, and they come maybe from other states, and they come walking through, and we try to tell them, because we can't keep closing the gate when we're walking the dog. So we try to keep them off, and they say, oh, no, we're just going to walk around. But what they don't realize is, if a dog gets loose, that's one of the reasons too. Definitely the destruction, but it's the safety. And it's not just the safety of them, it's the safety of the dog. And so, I do think that something needs to be done with the league. And I believe that the animal control officers, I believe they have been in touch with the person who runs the league.
They have. Everybody's trying to
So
work this out.
But
I
it's,
just wanted to go on the record, because you know how people are. If they continue to do it, and God forbid someone gets hurt,
Right.
they're going to say the town is liable. Well, the town is not liable. They're the ones that are pulling up the fence, destroying public property, cutting a lock. And
Yeah.
the parents, I had arguments with the grandparents, arguing with me, well, where am I supposed to go to the bathroom? Well, you go to the bathroom, they have facilities right there. Grandparents. And it's unbelievable. Before we had the parking places and things, they throw garbage. They're very disrespectful. They throw garbage. So I was bringing a garbage can out for them to put their garbage in. I didn't say a word. They just threw the garbage right there at my feet. It's like they just do it on purpose, so I just walk away. My stomach doesn't walk away, but
They don't
I
know
do
who they're
walk
dealing
away.
with, Anne Marie.
But I think it was important for me to go on the record, because God forbid, one of them gets hurt, and the sad thing is, the dog will get put down. We have a couple iffy dogs there, and even if they just put their finger in the kennel, they could get bit. And we're gonna have to put the dog down, and then they're gonna say,
So could I just ask a question again? I'm going to ask you because I don't want to breach anything. So there's no cameras?
there are some
do we have-
cameras.
Ring cameras are $100 a
Oh, there are some
piece.
cameras, right, on
he's
both
trying
sides.
to get one on that side.
Right, I don't know that there's one in
not
front.
where they keep reaching that area.
Right. And there, Josh Carabin, I believe, has spoke with Chief Daley, and they're talking about enclosing the whole area. There's an area where they can now put another fence, and it will enclose the whole area.
That
And I
sounds very
think
good,
that's what that's going to be the
Madam Chair.
answer.
Could you just follow through with that?
Well, two things. Number one is, the cameras I'll leave to Jack and his people, but I did work with Jack and Billy, the chief and the deputy chief this week, along with Annette Turnquist, and on the Board of Finance agenda for Wednesday will be some funding for that additional
good,
fence.
good. Okay,
The-
thank you.
We'll take it out of many different budgets We couldn't get in one budget, but we'll take it on May.
Because that really would solve it, because then would be no reason for people to be walking that way.
Right.
That will
have
solve the
no way in.
enclosure, that will solve the enclosure issue, but it won't solve the vandalism of the
Exactly,
fence issue.
No,
So
it will.
that,
Well, it will.
Well, that
No.
one section, unless it
No,
gets
they
fixed
can't
properly.
get, well.
because
They
they're
can't
also
get in there.
accessing through the outfield, right? So they're,
No,
where the
because
fence
that's
is.
locked, that's locked. The
So we
gate,
have a good lockdown.
the
No, I
lock-
know, but the last one that we saw was they took a section of fence and they ripped it up from the bottom.
Right,
That's,
but they won't be, right, but they won't be able to get in there any longer if they do that
Yeah,
final
let's
enclosure.
try this thing first, and like I said, if it goes through the BOF, it'll come to you guys on the 26th, and the area can be then, and that can then take over right after the money's approved.
That would be great,
We'll take it
that would be
from
good,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll follow up on that.
yeah,
Thank
I
you.
just thought it was important to just put it on the record, because
Yep, very
you know how
good.
people are nowadays. And we don't want anyone to get hurt.
No, of course not. Is there anyone else who would like to speak this evening? Last call. Okay, we're going to close public communication. Let's go on to old business, item 8, action on Farmington Canal Heritage Trail, Lazy Lane to Aircraft Road, bid recommendation.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve going to the Schultz Corporation
That's presented.
as presented by
Second.
the town.
Okay, Mike has made a motion, and Paul has seconded. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Morelli,
Yes.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Chaplinsky,
Yes?
Del Santo,
Yes.
DiPaolo,
Yes?
Dietzick,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Triano.
Yes. Item B, action on the road improvement tax abatement.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve as presented by the town manager.
Second, Madam Chair?
Thank you, Val has seconded, Mike brought the motion forward. Once again, let's just call the roll on this.
Discussion.
I'm sorry, discussion? Any discussion? I should have known better. Would you call the roll?
I'm sorry, discussion, just for clarity, this is industrial land
Yep,
and there is no residential component to it. Just want to make sure that's clear.
You are correct.
that's correct. Let's try it once more. Come on, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Morelli,
Yes.
Palmieri,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Chaplinsky,
Yes.
Del Santo,
Yes.
DiPaolo,
Yes?
Dietzick,
Yes.
Lombardi,
Yes.
Triano.
Yes. New business, tax refunds, please?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the tax refunds that were presented in our packet.
Second.
And is that you, Bill?
Yes.
Bill made the second on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I'm looking for a
Madam Chair,
motion.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're out of here.
Just a question
Thank
for
you.
everybody. I know a couple of people can't make the next meeting. July and August, is anyone